Hey friends and everyone, welcome back to Netcode-Hub channel. I am Frederick, as you know, and I'm happy to meet you today. I needed a third-party library DataGrid which supports virtualization from the server side to use it in my project that I'm doing. I searched through a whole lot of third-party libraries, and all that I saw was they all support, or most of them support, client-side virtualization. That is where all the data is being retrieved from the server, stored in the client, and then getting it or setting to the UI little by little. But in this case, I want to have in a pagination format on the server so that I can specify the current page or the page size, and on the current page I can specify this parameter to the server, and I can skip and take from the server. The motive here is I don't want to load the client to the whole data. No. I want to load the client with the needed or the needful data. So let's say I have a page size of 10. Anytime the client scrolls down, I have to call the API and I'll get 10 data and I'll add it to what it has already and just display it in the UI. So this is what I needed, but unfortunately I couldn't get it. So I had no option to create my own. So I created a simple package which support table design and also virtualization. I haven't added more features such as sorting, ordering, or even if you don't want to apply virtualization pagination. I haven't done any of them. Currently, it supports a tabular design and it also supports virtualization. So by and by, these features will be added little by little. So I want to show you guys so you can also use it. Maybe you've been facing the same issue, and I think this workaround can help both of us. So let's get right into this. Now this package, you can use it for any of the interactive mode. Talking about server, WebAssembly, or auto. You can use this package across all render modes. So let's see. You're going to create a new project in here. And it's going to be a web app. And I'm going to name it as Demo Netcode-Hub DataGrid because that is my DataGrid that I created. So I want to name the project by the name that I use. That's right. I change the location and click on Next. And here for the interactive render mode, server is okay. You can choose WebAssembly or auto, anyone. It works. And here, let's click on Create to get this project created. So once the project is being created, we're going to, all the time, I want to build my project first and see if everything is working. So let's do that. Alright, so succeeded. Now we're going to install this NuGet package. So I click on Dependencies and I go to Manage NuGet Packages. And in here, just type in, go to the Browse tab, and I'll type in Netcode. So Netcode-Hub. These are available packages that I have created, and they are available that you can also use them. I've made video or individual video to each of these. So maybe I'll put the playlist in the video description. If you want to use any of this, you can just watch that video and it will guide you through. Now what we are interested most today here is not any of this. Rather, down you can see we have netcode-hub.packages.component.datagrid. So this is what you want to use. So let's get this package installed. Alright, so this package has been installed. Now that this is done, what we need to do here is we need to make a reference because see here we're going to work with the UI, and I added some small JavaScript file. Okay, so we have to add that reference. So go to your component folder, app.razor, and now in here we need to add the reference to this script file. So with this reference, the name here that you need to add is content.netcode-hub.packages.component.data/event. So this is an event JavaScript file, and this is going to detect the UI and respond to the application. Okay, so we have to add this script reference. All right, so that is the first step. That's the second step. First step is to install. Second step is to add this reference. Now, the third step is to add a service. That is, you add a service if and only you want to use the virtualization. Okay, if you want to use the virtualization, then you need to add this service. But if you don't want to use the virtualization, then you can skip this service. So for now, I'm going to show you. Let's add this virtualization. So let's have the name reference using Netcode-Hub .packages.component. And now when it comes to this session, let's add builder.services .add Netcode-Hub. I forgot. .add virtualization service. So I wanted to add Netcode-Hub. No, it is not. It is add virtualization service. So add the service. That is when you want to use the virtualization. Okay, let's save this. So that's the third step, right? Now the fourth one is to go to the, maybe you can decide to go to your component, or you can create a new component. So let's maintain this one, and we need to make this as render mode of interactive server. Okay, so in here, what you do here is, let's have our code section, and maybe we need a class and a list, because virtualization means you have to get a list. So let's say I have a class down here. I can just create a class. So let's see, I am creating class, and now this class is going to be order. So order class, order model. And now with this, we have the order, ID, date, name, and address. Let's also create a service. Now, since we are not going to implement database and we are not using any API, okay, we're going to simulate it as if we are using an API. So let's create a service to handle this. We will click on this, add new class, and let's say this is going to be, let's make it as an API. So let's say this is order service. Now with this order service, we can just create a simple, let's have a list down here. Whoa, this is a list that I am creating. I'm using a long list, which is about 120, 112, because of the virtualization feature that I want to add. That's why I added a lot of lists in here. Okay, so maybe this, we can use the new, we can simplify the list, C# version 12. Yes, we can make this smaller. So yeah, we can use collection, we can use this one as new list. Okay, so this class returns orders, as you can see from here. Now this is not what we are interested. What you want to do here is you want to create a service to render this. Now the service that you want to create, let's put it on top here. So assuming this is an API, okay, so let's assume this is an API service that we are calling. Now with this, we call this endpoint get orders. This must be private, this must be public, and this must be private. So this service gets the order from a client by specifying the page size and the current page. The page size is the number of items that you need. If it is 20, you specify that. And now current page is going to be the number of returns that you have. The first return, the first call, when making the first call, it is 0. The second call is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like pagination. The first page is 0, second is 1, 2, 3, and so forth. So for you to get this understanding, I want to use maybe, let's say, a simple mouse here for you to grab this. Okay. It depends on how you want to implement yours, okay? But let me explain mine to you. Okay, so let's see. Now, when you check this, let's pick total items. Total items got 55. So in the API, we have 55 items. Now, the page size that I want to grab at any call is 20. So this is constant here, 20. Now, the first tick, current page is 0, because that's the initial tick. Now here, so we are saying that the skip page is the current page times the page size, which is 20 by 0, which will give you 0. So it means we are skipping 0 and I will take 20. Now second tick, we have current page is 1, because it's now 0 and it's going to 1. 20 by the page size times the current page, which is 20. So it means we are going to skip 20 and now take 20. So making here we have 40. 21st, 22nd, making 40. And now when you get to the third tick, the current page is going to be 2, because here we have 0, 1, and 2. Now skip page is going to be 20 times 2, which is 40. It seems that, so it tells you that we're going to skip 40 and now take 20. But when you have a look with the take 20, the whole total item here, it is 55. And we want to take 20. So 20 plus 40 is going to be 60, which is bigger or greater than the total item. And this won't be possible. So in this case, we want to pick the previous one, the current skip that we have from this tick. You know, here, skip and tick is 40, 20, 20, making 40. And also here, we have it in here, skip. We pick that one. So we subtract this 40 from the total item. This is the item that we've taken already. So we subtract from total item, and then the remainder that we have in here, we subtract the page size from it. If it is not greater, if it is equal to or lesser than 0, then you want to return. It tells you that yes, we have the rest that we have, we can pick 20 from it. But in case it does, then we're going to skip the 40 and now take the remainder, the 15. We take it in here. So that's exactly what we are doing here. Okay, so we check and now we pick it up. We check if the size is lesser than 0, then you want to pick this, else we want to do the normal stuff that we do. In case the size of this is lesser than the total item, you want to return null. Okay, so this is a simple service. What I need to do here is to create, let's register this service to program.cs, and let's add this. So this is not part of implementing this package, okay? Because here we need a service, and this service, I assume the service is created already by you, and now we implement it. But in this case, we are now creating this service. So we have this other service, and when you go to the home page, we can now inject this other service. Okay, so now we have this other service. What we're going to do here is we're going to implement, first of all, we can implement the table. So how to implement a table is Netcode-Hub. So DataGrid, and maybe we can remove this one and use it as a namespace. And now with this component that we have in here, there are a few things that we can specify. The first one that we need to do here is we need to specify header template. Then, aside from specifying this header template, we also need to specify content template. So as the name implies, you know what they are going to do, isn't it? Header and content. Now, one thing that I made this work with is, I use the normal table that we all know. So we have to implement your column or your table headers. Okay. So as for that one, I made it dynamic to you, so you can change it and make it any name that you want. So in this case, we can specify our table head. So just specify your TR. You see? So TR, and I specify your table head, and that is all. So if you want to loop through and display table heads, you can also go ahead and undo it in the header template. Also, when you go to the content template, you can also do same. So the others that we have, content template, instead of this, we can now call this. So when the page loads, we can get a list of others. So let's have private. We can have list of other. Then say my others. So equal to new. Okay, so we have this. Now when the page loads, initialize, we want to actually grab something. We want to get a list. So this is what we can do. When the page loads, we want to get this others. You see? So now with this is coming from the other service. So other service dot get others. We need to specify the page size and the current page. So in order to do so, we have two properties down here. And that is the page size is 20 and our current page is 0. Okay, so when the page loads, current page is 0, page size is 20. We specify them in here. Then after that, we have to increase this page size so that the next call, we can have this move to 1. Okay, so now that we have this, we pick this list and we are looping through it in here and are displaying our content. This is very simple. You see? Also, we can have this to maybe this a feature that you can add it. If load is true, we want to display this. So this is just a spinner that you are displaying. And now with this, we might have, we can have a property as Boolean to handle this. So if they set to true, that is so you want to display this. And we want to render this anytime we are making a call. Okay? So you want to show the user some loading spinner for the user to know that, yeah, there's a new data being called. So let me wait. Okay. We call this and you're done. So let's see. This must even happen in the virtualization. So for now, the data that we have, if we are getting from the whole list, we are getting the whole list. Okay? We don't want to use virtualization. Then we need not to implement this get others. So maybe in this time round, we can just go to this and we can have public. This is a task of list. This wouldn't even be task. Let's make it as list. And now this list is get or others. So return this others. Okay, so public. So we have this list others, so we get all others. This is going to get us all the 112 others. So within this one, when using the table, we can just call this. So order service dot then get all others. Let me add s to this. Okay, so now that we have this in the home, it's very simple to implement this, and that's a way to implement this table form. Okay, this is great. Now let's run this. Here we are not, or we haven't applied any virtualization. Let's comment this. This is for the virtualization. So all that you need to do here is, you can also comment this. We don't actually need any of this. That is, if you want to use only the table. Okay, you don't also need this. This one, only this. You call it service, and that is all. Now let's save this, and let's run this and check it out. Yeah, so you can see that here it's opening. This is a table, and as you can see, this is a table, and we can actually add more if you want to. Not only this, there are features that you can actually add. There are a lot of customization that you can do. Have a look. There are a lot of these customizations that you can actually happen or you can use with. Let's say if you want this the header. So you can see we have header BG, that's a header background. You have header color, header font. You can change any of this. So let's take for instance the header background color. So here you have to use the header background color dot, and here we have a lot that you can actually choose to use. Let's say this is the primary. When you save this, let's go to the list. So if hot reload is working, this thing must get reloaded. Yes, so you can see that we have the header changed to the color that we specified. Aside from this, we also have this header font or header color. You see? So all that you need to do here is the header color dot, let's use light. We save this, and yes, we have it. We can also specify content color. This we can change the font size, the font family, a whole lot. So try that yourself and you see it. So examples also here for the content template here is to have this content. So we have content font. Let's say the content font. I want to use the Curial, the comics. Okay. Now if I save this and go to, you will see it has now changed. So you can add a lot. So try to go through these features, add a lot. You have a lot in here, so you can you can actually add more. Just all this, you can add them: sticky, header size, header font, and a whole lot. Okay, and even for this DataGrid format, DataGrid format dot, we have a lot. So stripe, bordered primary, danger. Let's choose danger, and I'll have a look. Yes, so you can see that the whole thing has changed to the color that we choose. Yes, so you can actually add this. Now let's go and implement. So I'm going to use bordered primary. Then I have this beautifully. Yes. So this one beautiful is that I have. Now with this grid, we want to apply virtualization. You know, we don't want to get all the lists, about 112 lists, to the client. We want to get the first 20, and now when the client scrolls down, we want to load another 20, another 20, another 20, another 20, so it gets to the last end. So that's what you want to actually implement. Okay, so let's see. Now, when you go to this side, all that you need to do here is, now let's go in there and activate the list that we created. Okay. So for now, we are not going to call this service anymore. We're going to be using this. Okay, so we can set it progressively. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do here is we need to apply the virtualization container. So you have to apply it on top. So virtualization container, and now this will work because of the service that you have registered. Take note. So you have to surround the whole content with virtualization container, and aside from that, you must have templates. So virtualization template. You must also have this in here. This should come here. Okay, so this is what you need. You need the container in here, you need the template, then you can have your Netcode-Hub DataGrid in here. Now you see it expects value for parameter notify event. This is something that you have to get it. So notify event. So let's say this is notified. And now this notified, as it do, anytime that you scroll down, this event gets raised. And that is where you can call your API endpoint, okay, to get more of the extra data. So here you're gonna say void notify, and there's an event callback. It has no return type. So with this, what we can do here is I have implemented something simple in here that I want us to use. Okay, now I'm going to use await task.delay. So let me make this as async. So in here, I have a property known as stopper. Why do I need this stopper? Let's first create this property first. Then I'll tell you the reason why we need this stopper. So we define load, and now we also define stopper. If you want to, you can do that. The reason is async task must come. Yes. The reason is anytime that you scroll down, the number of moves that you scroll on the cursor is going to call this endpoint anytime. So we want to, here we await the task. So we delay and we want to get the list from the API. So we don't want to be troubling the API with a lot of requests. So when we have a request processing, and if the user want to even still scroll down and view the next data, while the next data is not available, we want to return. We make that available only when the data has been retrieved from the server, and the server is okay, ready to process a new request. That's the reason why we assign stopper. So default legacy stopper is set to false. So when you try this, when you run this, click on this, if stopper is true, then return. So default stopper is false. So when you run this for the first time, stopper won't be false, and you can run this one. As soon as it runs and gets to this, stopper here is true. So if the process, here we have this task delay. If the process is not completed and it's still issuing another request, by the time it gets to this, stopper will still be true, because stopper gets to be false at the bottom. And by then, this code hasn't been executed. So it still be true and it's going to return. So that's a mechanism that I implemented to protect the endpoint from calling it all the time to get the endpoint confused. Yes, okay. So you want to reduce the workload. Okay, unnecessary calls that a client can make. So get others. and this will come from the other service dot get others. Okay, and now in here we have this my others, so we have to add this. So the list that we have, we check if it's greater than 0, we have to add this. Definitely when we have the list, it returns null. This is going to be, you're going to have an error in here. That's why we're using this try catch block, and in case that happens, we turn this load to false. Okay, and that's a very simple thing that we are doing. Okay, now that we are set and done, let's see what you can do. I think everything is set. Okay, so Control KD. Let's save this, and now let's rebuild this and run. So you can see that when the page loads for the first time, we have the list of 20. So let's see. As soon as I go down, let's see. Now you can see a call. Now this is reloading. Now a new one has been added and a different call has been made. Now again, you can see that 40. Now we are up to 60. So 50 now. And now let's see the next call. So 70. You see? And to get the last one, this is 90. 92 to 110, and we have only 2 left. Let's see. So you see, the 2 left has been retrieved, and now we have this. Now the next time that I click on this, there will be an issue. You can see we have an issue in here. Click on continue, and now it is solved. That's the reason why we use try catch block to handle that, because null cannot be checked, null cannot be counted. When you check this list, we're saying that the list should be greater than 0. Okay, so that's why I have this try catch block, and in this case we set load to false. Okay, so let's refresh this again and try this one more. Alright, so yeah, it's still working. So that is it. I believe you've seen how to integrate this. Alright, so that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this, and hopefully I'm going to catch up again. So then, take care.